my book signing here. Hello, Facebook. We're at the Mercantile today in Mechanicsburg. That's 13 East Market Street, Mechanicsburg, PA. And I'm here with my grandson right here. My granddaughter, I'll pan to them later. But we're going to first talk a little bit about perseverance through adversity. As you know, my books deal with that subject, persevering through adversity. And the first thing, my first book, Hiding in the Light, deals with bullying. I think we all have been bullied in some way, shape, or form, be it in school or in the community, on your job. Bullying is a very serious matter, and it didn't just start. Way back when I was a kid, I was bullied, called mean names, hurtful names. Being a fair-skinned African American living in the hood in the deep South, it just was not a very popular place to be. I was called from Casper to Space Ghost to Kimba, the White Lion. And these names really did hurt, had an effect on me, to the point wherein I questioned my identity as a kid. It was hard for me to sing James Brown's Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud, because was I black enough to do that, to sing that, to be that? So sometimes bullying can leave a scar that can last a lifetime. But you know, I had good family support. They, and, you know, back then I had red hair. I had like this dark kind of sandy red hair too, and freckles. Oh my goodness! So, oh my God! Someone said I need to look like Howdy Doody. Oh, and only us old heads know who Howdy Doody was. So you youngins, Google Howdy Doody, and it's like, oh, I don't believe they just said that. So the support from family and friends helped get me through that tough time as a kid. But I had one teacher, my 7th grade health teacher. And in my book, Hiding in the Light, through the whole series, because he was very influential all the way through high school, was Mr. Thompson. We'll call him Mr. Thompson. And I found refuge in Mr. Thompson. I found that half of my lunch period, I would sneak out the cafeteria to go down to Mr. Thompson's room. This is like 7th grade. And so there was some really good conversations. And then I ended up making the 7th and 8th grade basketball team. Guess who the coach was? Mr. Thompson. So this guy got me through a really, really tough time. And I ran around with these kids who were just hellions, if you want to call it that, because living in the hood, living in poverty, I grew up in a cinder block house in South Florida. So can you imagine, in South Florida, it's 95 degrees in the shade in the summertime. So you're living in a cinder block house with no air conditioning, no air conditioner. It would get so hot in the house until the water from your body would evaporate to the ceiling and drip back down on you. It would just get that hot in the place. The house was on rocks. The development was on rocks. I lived in I think it was 2 other streets in this town that was not paved. but they only had maybe like one or two little shacks. This development is just all rocks and sand. So when cars would go through, dust would come through the house. And I went to school, my clothes were dusty. And so kids made fun. So in my first book, I not only deal with bullying, just kid on kid, but then there was social class bullying, the haves versus the have-nots. Then, of course, you had the light skin versus dark skin bullying in my community. You had police bullying, how they marginalized the people in the black community. So coming through all of that was a challenge. Mr. Thompson, though, he knew I was smart, but I would dumb myself down for these friends that I ran around with. And he always called me Cook. He always called me by my last name. He said, "Why do you do that?" He says, "You're very smart." He says, I bet it's those kids you run around with. So, when you're caught, you just stay quiet, right? He says, if they were really your friends, they would want you to do your best no matter what. So I said, well, yeah, but you don't understand, Mr. Thompson, like in the hood, kids get picked on, if they're too smart. He says, but dumbing yourself down is not going to help you later on when you want to get a job or when you want to be whoever it is that you would like to be. He said, it's not how you start out in life, it's how you finish. I kept that with me to this day. So now I'm playing basketball, and some of the kids from the parks who lived in a better section of town would give me a hard time. I was the only townie on the team. And so when practice was over, I was going one way. They would be going the other. Their rides would come and pick them up. And here I go, heading out, going back into town. So Mr. Thompson drove this blue GTO. Oh my God. Greatest muscle car like ever. All the kids, we used to marvel over it. And he knew the kids would harass me or harass me a little bit after practice, as kids do. And so he'll say, I remember these conversations are in the book. He said, "Come on, Cook, I'll drop you off." And you could see all the other kids' faces like, and so it's like my moment. And so I would never allow him to drive down the rocks because his car was always clean. It's like, no, just drop me off. Like right here, my house was the first house. You can see me go through my door. He says, no, I'm going to take you to your door. He said, I know those kids give you a hard time sometimes about where you live. He said, it's not where you come from, it's where you're going. Where do you want to go in life? What do you want to be in life? So those were things that I had to think about as a 12-year-old. And our topic is perseverance through adversity. Because my parents always pushed education, like do your best in school. And I did, but just enough to get that B. And then finally I broke out of that and I started to make my A's. And here, come to find out, my friends, they already knew I was smart. When I started to make the honor roll, they would be like the first looking on the list to see if I made it. So sometimes we have this self-imposed idea, not only about ourselves, but other people and what they were thinking. And they were true friends. It was just, they picked and busted on other people because if they were smart. And I just didn't want that to happen to me. But then I found out that they were looking on the board to see if I made the honor roll before I did. So sometimes we can have the wrong impression about some people until we just ask and know. So in battling that, and Mr. Thompson saying, it's not where you come from, it's where you're going. Where do you want to go in life? What do you want to be in life? That's what you strive toward. And if your friends are your friends, they'll be for you and not against you. They'll help you and they won't hurt you. They'll be true friends. He says, it's not how you start out, it's how you finish. Yeah, things are a little rough right now, but how do you want to finish in life? Finish well. So always do your best. And so your parents always tell you stuff like that anyway, but you know, you're listening and you're hearing, but it's just mom, it's just dad. But when a teacher or a coach, someone that you spend more waking hours with than your parents, believe it or not, when you're in high school sports, you're with that coach during the day when he teaches for 7 hours. You're with them another 2 hours at practice. That's like 9.5 hours during your day. When you go home, you probably see your parents 2 hours max awake. Another hour and a half in the morning before they go to school, before you go to school. So those people have a lot of influence on our kids. That's why it's very, true that we need to pick good coaches and have good coaches because they carry a lot of influence. And that's the type of coach I tried to be when I coached. Give back. Give back what Mr. Thompson gave to me. Give back what my high school and my college coaches gave to me. Give those kids the opportunity. So, perseverance through adversity. So now, by the time I get in 9th grade, this book here starts in like 8th. This is Remember the Titans. This book right here, honest to goodness, my whole through sports, it's like Remember the Titans. Sorry, I lost you there for a minute, Facebook. I'll try to get you back here if we can. Xavier, if you could hold that like right here, and I'll put another book over there or something. Yeah, like right there. That's not too bad. Right there, that's good. So, this book here is like my start of athletics, and if you athletics in middle school, high school, and if you ever remember the movie Remember the Titans, when integrated schools come in to the South, this book starts that series. It was challenging. It was quite challenging, being that I was the only 7th grader on the 8th grade team, and my brother was like a basketball star. I was kind of slated to be that guy too. And now you're going across the tracks. The races were separated by the railroad tracks in the South. And will I get that opportunity again? So this book talks about all the angst, all the anxiety to be, because basketball was my, how would you say it? My getaway from the poverty. Because when I was out there on that court, it was just me, my basketball, against whoever was in front of me. So I didn't have to think about eating beans and rice and pig scraps every day. I didn't have to think about wearing, the same clothes like 3 times a week to school. I didn't have to think about dust, getting to school and beating the dust out of my clothes before I go through the gate at school. It was a way for me to escape all of that. Plus James Bond. You gotta read the book. James Bond was my alter ego. I'm not gonna even go there right now. But no, it really was. I'm not gonna go there. But because Bond was just like the coolest guy, man. But anyway, so now I do make the club. I do make friends, and now the bullying kind of disappears. Because now I'm in one school and the older kids are at the high school. See, in my community, we only had one school. We didn't have a middle school or intermediate school. High school started in 7th grade. So you wouldn't, come on in, Thomas, come on in. Grab a seat here or pick up something there. And it started in 7th grade. So 7th graders walked the halls with 12th graders because there was no middle school. And so it was like such a relief to be one place and they were someplace else. I never succumbed to the bullying. I had a smart mouth. I think I knew every "your mama's so fat" joke. I'm just being honest, which got me into trouble, and I got my brother into a lot of fights. Oh, my older brother, he's like 5 years older than me. And I'm running around the community. There's a great scene in this book right here, Hiding in the Light, wherein I'm running and screaming, Lavelle, and I did that about once every 2 weeks, and out of nowhere, man, he would just fly through and come and rescue me and drag me home and tell my parents not to let me come out of the house because I got him into fights all the time because I just wouldn't, back down to the name calling. And so what I'm saying is, like, when you get dark clouds like that, and we all get them, you can't just stop people calling you names, people ostracizing you. I was smart enough for my friends to call me to get answers for their homework, but they never invited me to any of their birthday parties. Mm-hmm. So what do you do with that? My crew that I ran around with, sometimes I would bark some of the stuff like that, and they would be like, "Didn't you know that? Like they only hang around with you at school because the other kids, the girls, they like you, but when you get out of school, because of where you live, they don't want to be associated with you." So to talk again, persevering through adversity. So after the name stopped, calling stopped, now you got to deal with money, sneakers. Are you going to have the nice new Converse sneakers that were the sneaker of the day? Or are you going to get the NBA, the knockoffs? Or some other, PF Flyers or something to play the season in? So now you have to deal with that. But you don't, what's that saying? It's going to come to me in a minute. You just, during the tough times, you have to keep moving forward. See, the haters hate. That's what they do. And a lot of times we want to try to change a hater's mind. That's what they do. They're angry, they're frustrated, mainly because things might not be going their way. So I think our goal should be have a little more resilience and understand that there's just some people that's not going to like you anyway for the way you look, for the way you talk. I remember writing this for you. In my household, you could not speak bad English. That's the 60s. You know, stop being ignorant. You know, speak well. So I got it for that too. So looking this way, and now you don't sound like the other kids. It's, you know, it was a challenge. But that didn't stop me because there were good people behind me. So when you can get behind someone, especially a young person, encourage them to be their best self. Encourage them that you can make it regardless of where you come from. Because it's not where you came from, it's where you're going. Where do you want to go? Help them identify what some of their goals might be. Help them identify what it is that they aspire to be in life. And please let them know that they'll change that 3 times. Because if we think about it, a lot of us want to be certain things. That didn't work. Now you got into something else. You do it for a while. No. It's usually that third or fourth thing that you morph into. But you take all of those experiences with you. The bullying, I took with me. The name calling, I took with me. The ostracizing, I took with me. Because I'm able to speak at high schools, middle schools, camps, banquets, luncheons, and I'm going, and so many hands go up because they're individuals that have the same scars. But that didn't stop them. By the time I get to be a junior in high school, those same, if you want to call them haters like the young people do, now they're screaming my name. Now they're cheering for me, Kimba, Space Ghost. Now they know Casper. Now they know my name. So words do hurt. I'll talk about that in the first book. But we give other people's words the power to hurt us. Don't ever do that. Don't give anyone else's words that much power to hurt you. Because in the long run, who are they? You don't sleep under their roof. They don't buy your clothes. They don't give you lunch money. They're just kids. They're just people. And really, they come after your superpower. That thing that uniquely makes you you. That's your superpower. Oh, it's too big. Okay, well, line up on the line next to me. And I'll show you who's big. Or they're too tall. Or you're too short. Or maybe you might be a little overweight. They hate on it because it doesn't stop you. You're still happy. You're still smart. You're still athletic. And so when you have to take the fun out of it for them, don't get into an arguing match with them. Don't get, because they like, oh, why are you saying that about me? Don't say that. Don't. They love that because now they got you. And yeah, you can't ignore it. And someday you're going to deal with it, but pick your time to deal with it. I know when I speak to young people, I say, when you come into a bullying situation, remember call, C-A-L-L, call. The C stands for stay under control. Stay calm and under control. Calm and under control. Because once you start reeling, once you get into that argument, they got you. And now they're in control. Stay calm and under control. The A in call, away. Just walk away. Move away. If it's more than one person, run away if you have to get to some safety. The first L in call is let. Let somebody know someone tried to harm you, says the wrong things to you, vandalize your locker, knock your books out of your hand, whatever. Let someone else know. So if you have to open a can of whoop ass, then the principal knows. The teacher knows. The guy at the grocery store at the corner knows. The neighbors know. Because eventually you may have to do that, but you've already given fair warning. Your parents have gone to the principal, you've gone to the principal, you have gone to the teacher, your parents have gone to the teacher. So that first L in call is let. And then the last L in call is love. Love yourself. Love yourself past the hurt, the anger, the bullying. Don't let anyone frustrate you to that point that you want to hurt yourself or somebody else. Because then they've won. And you don't ever want to let bullies or people who are responsible for the adversity to win. Because you have a future, and your future is bright. That's why I call all my followers shiners. Let your light shine. Who you are, that's your superpower. God didn't make us all the same. We'd be bored. It'd be a boring world. We all have differences. And our differences is what make us unique. So celebrate your difference. The world wants to put us in a box that they have for us. And they try to squeeze us into that box. Well, a lot of us don't fit in that box. I didn't fit in that box. Mr. Thompson helped me realize I did not fit in that box. And it's okay. They're going to say those things anyway. You rise above that. Don't. My friends in this first book, they're just pushing your buttons. Don't let them push your buttons like that. And I was a fighter, It's like, well, I'm not going to let them get away with that. Oh, it's just a game to them. Well, if it's a game to them, I'm telling you, I'm going to score more points than they do. If they want to start that name, I'm all over the place. I was like a fish on the line. Reel me in so far, then they let me just run around and not be the person that I was intended to be. So perseverance through adversity. And I just only talked about the bullying. I didn't deal with the poverty. But you have to keep moving forward. Your destiny is ahead of you, not behind you. The best of your years are in front of you. The hating that occurred back there, you have to leave it in the rearview mirror. You have to leave it there. Yes, those scars are still there. And writing about them helped heal me. But only I can bring them to the surface now, not somebody else. Only I can do that. So persevere through your tough times because that's your testimony. Today, I'm a retired school teacher, 35 years. I'm inducted into the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame. All my friends that I ran around with are not here anymore. Some of them passed away as early as 34 years old. Mr. Thompson was right. It's where you're going. What do you want to do? What do you want to be? It's not how you start out in life. how do you want to finish? I have so many firsts in front or behind my name until it's kind of embarrassing to mention. I was like the first senior class black president at the all-white school that was in my community, the first. In fact, I was the first sophomore class vice president at this particular school. Kind of forgot that one. First, part of charter group of my fraternity at Westchester University. Founder, first black professional at Hartford Township High School. And we're not talking about 1968, we're not talking about 1970, we're talking about like 81, not too long ago. First black educator at Dauphin County Votech School, first black head coach at Central Dauphin. I did so many firsts. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What do you want to be? I made that up in my mind a long time ago. And when you can do that, the hate falls off. The hate, you brush it off. But first you have to know who you are. And you have to accept who you are. That's what book 1 is about, accepting your difference. Book 2, now that you've accepted it, now you got to walk in it. Walk in who you are. Yeah, I'm different. So what? My one friend in the first book said, that's the best thing about you. He said, I don't have to worry about you lying or cheating or giving. He said, those are the best things about you. I said, why you sit around worrying about what other people say or think about you? Just continue to be you. Perseverance through adversity. That's how you get to the top. You don't get to the top of the mountain just down here and angry and worrying about that. You keep climbing. You keep going. Man, you're going to slip sometime. Sometimes you might fall back down to the bottom. That's those blows. That's those punches that you're taking from life. But you don't stop. I had my goals. There were tough times growing up poor like that my first 14 years. It's very tough. And if I would have stayed in that situation on those rocks, who knows where I would be. But when my sister came and took me off the rock, book 3 deals with that. Life began to change a little bit. I was able to accept my differences and grow into my light. Grow into your light. First, you accept it. Second, you grow, you walk into it, you learn about it, what it is you want to do, what it is you want to be, and then finally, after accepting and walking, finally you become the light. Other people want to emulate you. Other people want to walk beside you. Other people want to bask in your glow, your shine, because now you've accepted, you've walked in it, and now you become it. Thanks for listening. Look, I was supposed to do some reading. Thanks for listening to that. And I'm so glad my grandkids are here. I'm going to pan 2 of my grandkids. Wave, guys. That's the Xavion and Ziana. Oh, my goodness. I'm not going to cry. I promise I'm not going to do that. But when they walked in, it just, they get a chance to see their pop, like, not just the fun guy that's, I don't know, going out to dinner or hanging out shooting baskets, but they kind of get a chance to see what I do. So there's a few things from the book that I'm going to read. I did that talk way too long. I did not want to talk that long. But in my first book, Hiding in the Light, how do you hide in the light? Think about that for a minute, just the title itself. Hiding in the light. How do we do that? See, there's several people, millions, hiding in the light every day. They hide their hurt, their sorrow, their shame, their pain. But we wouldn't know it Hi, Johnny. How you doing? Oh, it's all right. I'm good. Hi, Billy. What's up? Oh, man. Everything's all right. Susan, how you feeling today? Just dandy. So to hide in the light, you have to pretend the hurt doesn't hurt. And there's people pretending every day, living in abusive situations, poverty situations, tough situations, but we would never know it. So that's what Joseph is trying to do in his situation. Pretend that the rocks don't hurt, the names don't hurt, the beans and rice and pig scraps doesn't hurt. The sneakers with the holes in the bottom, that they don't hurt. And so he morphs into James Bond, and he feels like he's on some super spy mission with a Bond girl and just enjoying life until it hits him in the face again. Here's one of those hit him in the face again situations. This is from book 1. Joseph, Mama called from the back room. Yes, I need you to go to the store for me. Okay, I confirmed as I took my last shot. He's shooting baskets at this busted rim in front of his house. I brushed off the dust as I approached her. She handed me a list and $3. Here are the things I need from Ray's. Get rice, not brown rice. Get white rice, she instructed. Beans, white rice, bread, flour, and cornmeal. I read the list to her. Oh, and get some self-rising flour, she reminded. I got it, Mama, I assured her as I walked away. On the way to Ray's, I was haunted by the incident that occurred the week before. A kid called me an albino. He bumped into me on purpose and said, "Watch where you're going, you damn albino." And he began to laugh. Those encounters would pop up in my head when I was alone, quiet. My family said, "Ignore it." That was easy for them to say. Words hurt. It was very hard for me to be that kid and get disrespected like that all the time. They would think I was soft. I needed to get my respect. You couldn't be soft in the jungle. As I left Ray's with the grocery, Cray and one of his friends was outside. I didn't care for Cray. He was one of my biggest haters. I looked away when I passed him, hoping he wouldn't start with me. I was about 8 feet beyond them when I noticed I had too much change in my hand. I looked into the bag and I discovered I had forgotten to buy an item. I walked past them again. I quickly grabbed the handle of the door. "So what did you forget, little mutt?" He blurted out to the amusement of his friend. A bazooka blast exploded in my head. Shrapnel spread my brain on all sides. I tried to tell my feet to keep moving. They wouldn't listen. As I battled to control the effects of the blast, I could vaguely hear Mama, Lindsay, Duke saying, "Don't let them push your buttons." Yeah, I'm going to read this part anyway. My mind flashed back to the time I caught Casey, who's his older brother, cleaning his gun. He has a silver .32 pistol with a white pearl handle. Only Lavelle and I knew he had it. He brought it in when this guy from the 333 made trouble with him for talking to a girl. He accused Casey of flirting with her and wanted to fight him. Casey said he walked away, but later bought a gun to protect himself if it happened again. "Come in, close the curtain," he ordered. This is Casey's with Casey's brother. This is flashing back through his head. You wanna hold it?" My eyes stretched wide to match my smile. I had never held a gun before. The handle caught my eye, drew me toward it. The chance to be real, like a 00. "Sure, is it loaded?" I asked. "No, I took the bullets out," he said. He put his arm around me, gave instructions on how to aim and shoot. I visualized Casey's face in front of me, and I pulled the trigger. I visualized Cray's face. That's the kid, the bully. And I pulled the trigger. Oh no! What's going on? In my head, my thoughts had become dangerous. Someone opened the door. I moved aside. That brought me back from the dark, dangerous place in my head. During my anger blackout, I must have turned to Cray. I stared him in the face. My mouth was loaded to fire off swear words at a world's pace. "So what are you going to do, cry?" he asked as his friend continued to laugh. I heard Mama again. "Don't do it. Don't say it." For once I listened. Wow. Not because I wanted to, because I had to. I couldn't run holding a bag of groceries. I walked over to him, my eyes fixed on his. I wanted to punch him in the gut so hard he would crap blood for a week. "So what are you going to do? Hit me?" he joked. "Say it again, Cray. Call me another name. And if you do, I promise my brother will beat you so bad your mama won't recognize you." "Say it again," I suggested sarcastically. His friend laughed hysterically. Not smiling, I cut my eyes over to him. I didn't flinch. "Cray, don't say anything. His brother's a beast," his friend warned. "Why you got to bring your brother into it?" he asked apologetically. "No, I didn't think so." I fired back to him. I brought my goods home. I played a game of pinball, and I brought what I had bought back home. So I read this. Why do I read that? Because kids have dangerous thoughts in their head. See, Joseph had a dangerous thought about hurting someone else when he had to pull himself back. That's what bullying can do. That's why some kids harm themselves, because bullying has an effect on them that we don't know what the outcome's going to be. All we have to do is encourage our people that their words, Cray's words, what did he call me? Just a name. A mutt. You know? Yeah, it hurt because after you hear it so many times, it's like a punch to the face. But we have to teach our kids to be more resilient, and that is just a name. And those kids who are calling you names, who are they in the first place? Apparently they're not your friends. And so you don't want to be friends with them. And you don't want them to continue to call you those names, but you don't internalize them. That's not you. You know who you are. And you know what you can be. So, I didn't want to get too dramatic. But thank you for listening. I was going to read another from my second book, or my third book, but I think that's enough, because I'm going to get teary-eyed. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys for listening out there. I'm just going to end with that. Not in the fanfare that I usually do, but I wanted to let you know Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter at Cy Emery, Cyemery. I thank all of you for coming out today. Thank you. Thank you. I got a few applause. Yeah, there are people in the audience. So I'll let Facebook kind of like say hello to Facebook Live. Thank you so much. And thank you to my grands. Thank you guys for listening, Facebook. Appreciate you. Love you. Pick up a book, all right? I'll tag some of you, and I'll also put the Amazon address. Until next time, let your light shine. Let your light shine bright so the whole world can see it. This is your boy, Cy Emery, saying goodbye for now, and God bless. Thanks.